Imagine you're 8 years old, you're coming home from school. You reach your front door, opening it, and as you enter your house, you see your parent dropped down on the couch and several empty bottles of alcohol in the room. The loud noise of a scattered TV. You walk past quietly, grabbing each bottle as carefully as possible, not wanting to make the slightest noise. You then begin tending to the house. You go to pick up the remote off the dirty carpet and turn off the TV. You then begin tending to the house, cleaning up messes, preparing dinner, and caring for your siblings and helping them with their homework. And as night falls, you tend to their bedside as you tuck them in. You reach for the doorknob. It's cold. You turn your head back to face your siblings who had already fallen asleep. You feel a shiver go down your spine. This sensation of... You turn your head back into the dark hallway and close the door quietly. Now, as we reel back, I want you to think about this scenario. Think about how you felt. Didn't you feel an emotional burden and responsibility placed on you? The overwhelming struggle to balance the need of your siblings and your own? And the lack of boundaries on this role reversal. You, at 8 years old, taking on the parental duties due to your parents' neglectful behavior. This sensation is a deep hidden emotion varying as frustration, sadness, guilt, shame, anxiety, and more. All of this is the portrayal of parentification. Parentification is a complex process, a role reversal between a child and a parent, in which the child takes on the parental duties that are typically meant for a parent. Parentification has been dated back to the 1960s, recorded by family therapist Salvador, I'm going to mess up his name, Minchuan, one of the leading experts in the field of therapy, and creator of structural family therapy. He did not coin the term parentification, but his work expanded on it through dynamics within family structures. His studies and exploration were focused on family structures and relationships in difficult economic and social situations. His book, Family and Family Therapy, discusses how structural family therapy addresses dysfunctional family patterns. Hungarian-American psychiatrist Ivan Balzman-Nagy, one of the co-founders of family therapy, had further developed the term parentification in the 1970s. He did not develop a theory for parentification, but his work dived into the complex dynamics within family structures. In one of his most notable books, Invisible Loyalties, discusses the hidden obligations and loyalties within families and how their impacts on individuals' behaviors and relationships across generations, influencing family dynamics and patterns of interaction. In its other book, Between Give and Take, explores how healthy relationships involve a mutual give and take, which both parties contribute and receive in a balanced manner, which develops respect, trust, and connection. He also highlights the consequences of imbalances and exploitation, as it leads to resentment, conflict, and breach of trust. Though his work is based on contextual therapy, his work provided valuable insight about parentification. The two most common distinct types of parentification are emotional and instrumental. Emotional parentification occurs when a parent seeks out emotional support from their child. This can be seen as normal, but the problem with this is it only becomes problematic when the child becomes the designated therapist or confinement. And it becomes even more problematic when the parent shares inappropriate or adult context with their child. And this can cause the child to feel overwhelmed, anxious, and even questioning their own emotional boundaries. Instrumental parentification occurs when a child takes on the parental duties of a associating with maintaining a household. This transforms them into becoming the primary provider and caretaker of the house. Another type that should be mentioned is sexualized parentification. I will not go into much detail about this as to avoid discomfort, but I will just graze the type. This type involves when a child has to take on a parent or spouse role in a sexual manner. Within parentification, there are 4 types of divisions: adaptive, destructive, parent-focused, and sibling-focused. Adaptive is when a child takes on the responsibilities for a short term, while destructive is the opposite. It's long-term and ongoing. Parent-focused is when caregiving is directed only to the parent or guardian. And sibling-focused is when caregiving is only directed to the sibling or siblings. In cases of parentification, the reason for it occurring is when the parent is in a compromising position, which includes but not limited to alcohol and drug abuse, death, divorce, financial hardship, or unemployment. And as a result, the parent becomes unwilling or incapable of performing their roles as parents. And therefore, their child, in cases if there's an oldest, they have to step up and take on these responsibilities. This reversal disrupts the natural process in natural development. This problematic dynamic overwhelms the child within the family, forcing them to grow up quickly and figure out what it means to be a parent and how to provide. During childhood, the bonds between parents and children are broken, which also cuts out their support and the protection that they require from their parents. The trauma of this experience can produce both a short-term and long-term implication on a child's life and well-being, especially when the process begins in the early stages. As I did with the scenario, you were 8 years old. It can range from 8 years old to 18. That's how big the gap is. As they enter the young adolescent stages, they will experience violent outbursts, depression, anxiety, eating disorders, and substance use. And relationships are no better. They will struggle with maintaining relationships, especially romantic ones. This will affect their sense of boundaries towards others and their social ability. This will continue all the way into adulthood. In some cases of parentification, it is seen as necessary, especially in situations of challenging, such as illness or financial instability. Some cultures consider it normal to place early responsibilities on children as it allows them to develop supporting strategies and comprehend the fulfillment of caregiving. However, this can make it difficult to discover the hidden traits of parentification through positive working behaviors, which can be masked by perfectionism and overcompensation. The idea of a parent being or a child being responsible is positive, but this can cause them to miss out the nurturing development stages that they require and would help them later on in adulthood. Family dynamics that are disrupted by parentification can cause parental stress, frustration, restrained relationship with parents, and complicated relationships with siblings. A sibling dynamic can't always be guaranteed as positive. It can either be loving or abusive. The parentified child can replicate the parental abuse that they receive from their parents onto their siblings, since their freedom was taken from an authority figure, and so they will do the same towards their siblings. People who have experienced parentification are highly recommended to seek out therapy. Depending on the severity, then certain therapists and sessions are needed. But the process of healing is long and difficult, but the available resources that they provide is beneficial for you. Other than therapy, there are support groups, self-help resources, intuitions, and online books and sources. In order to understand this complex process, we must educate ourselves further and the impacts on our future children's development. Thank you.